I'm Makil Hooley, and this is The Life Shift, candid conversations about the pivotal moments that have changed lives forever. Hello, my friends. I'm Makil Hooley, and I am the host of the Life Shift podcast, and I am the lucky one. I am the person that gets the opportunity to speak to all these amazing guests, and I'm forever humbled that everyone that's been on the show has trusted me with their story, and a lot of these stories are deeply personal. A lot of them are tragic or have tragic moments in them, and I think, what I love about the Life Shift podcast is, sure, some of these events are really hard to hear and experience, but I do find that every episode ends in some kind of inspirational way of hope and what we've learned as humans through the experiences that we go through. If you are a regular listener of the Life Shift podcast, or if you've never listened, what I like to do at the end of the story is kind of ask my guests if they could go back to that person right before their life shift moment, what would they say? And for some people, I ask for advice for people that are going through something similar. And sometimes I ask just a random question that's in the similar vein. And so this is one way that I get to hear what someone would say to that person, knowing full well it's not possible, with the intention of anyone listening that might be going through something similar or a similar experience, they have the opportunity to hear maybe some inspirational words or something that resonates with them so that they feel a little bit less alone in their experiences. I just want to say thank you to those of you that have been listening. So I hope you leave this episode feeling inspired. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy listening to this recap episode of the responses to, if you could go back to that person right before your life shift moment, what would you say?
My God, just breathe. I would say just breathe because it's going to be okay, and it's going to be a long journey and it's going to be a lot of highs and a lot of lows still, but just breathe. That's the thing that I always think of. It's so cheesy. It was from this movie Ever After. I don't know if you ever remember that with Drew Barrymore. They're like, just breathe. And I think about that all the time because it's something I don't do. I never breathe. I always hold my breath, and I'm always like, because you tense up, right? And it's so silly. It's like, just breathe because we're humans. It's human experience. It's what we are living in. It's a human experience.
I would say to stick to her gut because there are many things that I held myself back from doing or did even though I didn't want to do them because of the fact that, again, I felt like I had to. And I feel like as people, but especially as women, I feel like we're very intuitive and we talk ourselves out of trusting that feeling. And we try to say like, nope, that's like not right. We're overthinking it. But 9 times out of 10, I find that my gut is right. And so I wish I had listened to that earlier, whether it's about like business projects I didn't want to take on, or again, starting my company when I did. That's the one gut feeling that I listened to. But I feel like I wish I started doing that earlier until it got to the point where I was like, I need to just follow what I want to do, if that makes sense.
I will remind her what a complete stranger told me that day. So when the guy had made a decision that I'm a prostitute, I need to go back to Cameroon, he called 2 female officers to perform the body search on me, removed my shoelaces from my tennis shoes, and sat me on a bench waiting to be processed. As I was sitting there, desperate, completely lost and confused, wondering what was happening, another immigration officer was passing by and he stopped. If you know anything about LAX, it's crowded. So I don't know how he noticed me, but he did. He stopped and he asked me, "What's happening, sister?" And I don't know what I was telling him because, again, I wasn't speaking English like that. But I started talking. And he stood there, listening. Whatever I was saying, maybe I was mixing French with my language and some English in between. But he stood there and listened to me. And whatever I said, at the end, he just told me, "It's going to be all right." And that simple sentence, I never forgot it. So if I had to say something to that me sitting on that bench, I would say the exact same thing that officer told me. It's going to be all right. And I want to say the same thing to whoever is listening to this show, which, by the way, I want to take a moment to appreciate you for allowing these stories to be shared, because beyond, as you were talking about, beyond expertise, we are humans. And it's humans who transform because we understand each other. That's how we can help each other, even with our skills, with our services, with our products. The only way we can truly help people is because we understand them. So if someone is listening to this show, I don't know if you're about to give up, or you're going through a tough time, or you just need encouragement, I just want you to hear this. It's going to be all right. Doesn't matter what it looks like right now or what it feels like right now. It's going to be all right.
Yes. So going back to Simon Sinek, find your reason why. There's always a reason why something happened. It might not be your why or directly affecting you, but there's some reason that that happened. And to just look at the why and try to find the lesson in it, because whatever you believe in, and I believe in believing, it it happens for a reason. It's just figuring out what it is and then taking it and sitting with it.
I think the obvious thing that comes to mind is leave, right? But I think more than that, something that I really struggled with after I left was I'm not allowed to get divorced. But I am in so much pain and I am so broken that if divorce is the thing that sends me to hell, I don't care. I am in that bad of a place, and it's either going to be my life in this marriage or it's going to be my life outside of it. And so I think the biggest thing that I would want to communicate is that any decision that you make, you are still loved and held, and God, the God that I believe in, grieves with you and laments with you and wants justice for you.
You will be surprised in a really good way. And like right after, there was just so much dark, and I kept asking my therapist, where is the freaking light, right? And sometimes you just have to turn it on yourself. And I think that's what I did with Clara. Is I went and I was like, I got to figure out, I got to make my own hope here. And that was me taking an action. But it gets okay. It's okay. Like, it'll be okay. And you'll be really happy with where you ended up.
Yeah. Do you feel like a different person now?
Completely. And it's not only this decision that I made to pursue Clara for Daters, but it's also because I was in such a male-oriented world before, and like power suits, high heels, the whole thing in auto, versus now having been really vulnerable conversations, talking about my personal life, something I've never done before. It's allowing me to really get in touch with my feminine energy side that I really haven't done a lot of at all in my life. I've always been super like more, get things done kind of things. And I really love this version of myself that I have. This version of myself is fun on dates. This version of myself is flirtier. This version of myself is not as anxious or like looking for a goal. And I think that's been a really fun person to get to know these last couple of years.
If I can go back, I'll sit there and just look at him and just smile and just maybe tell him to pay attention.
Be interesting to watch that.
Oh man, because I knew that change. I knew that was a moment in my life that my life changed.
Well, first I'd tell her to buckle up, and then I'd probably tell her, I don't even know what kind of advice you could give, but I would just say probably to myself that everything's going to work out the way that it's going to work out, and everything's just going to be okay because it just has to be. And so I think that that's what I would say.
I would say breathe. I would just say take a step back, put your phone on airplane mode or just silence your notifications and just get in touch with with that inner dialogue. Stop listening to that voice, that monkey mind that's telling you to go after that Facebook update, or maybe just, as you said, jump into that conversation in that conference call where you have to be the most insightful or the most thoughtful person, right? And just quiet that. And the only way you can do that is through your breath. So just take a deep breath, exhale, and you'll see that it's a lot less noisy, it's a lot less busy, and it's a lot less chaotic. And you're okay. You know, you're safe. And, tomorrow's another day.
This brings up a whole bunch of other stories, but I was very fortunate to have two older male mentors in my life, and one of them was a gay priest, Roman Catholic priest. And he told me, don't worry about it. You might think that you're a caterpillar right now and all spiky and not interesting, and you might feel like you have to camouflage yourself and hide away, but there's going to come some metamorphosis and some change, and there is this butterfly inside you. And I mean, that's not the thing you say to a 17 or 18-year-old boy. I was like, oh my gold butterfly, good lord. But I cannot tell you how many times I have thought back to that little phrase and thought, someone sees a butterfly in me. Okay, there's work to be done, there's changes to be made, and let's see what comes of it. And that was very hopeful.
For more information, please visit www.thelifeshiftpodcast.com.